it's Angelica, Cheyenne, aka the Chocolate Diva. I'm here with
Jaylon Musa.
and we're going to be covering a lot today. Stay tuned. We are back once again, and I have another special guest. He is a dope rapper, a BET Freestyle champion, and overall performer. I welcome Jaylon Musa.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. You were even early. I appreciate that tremendously.
Yeah, you gotta show up a little on time. You gotta, I ain't like I'm Diddy out here. So, show up
Right.
on time.
Had that business administration courtesy going on there.
Right.
Now, since it is Friday, I like to start off my Fridays with a fun fact. So, what is something that not a lot of people know about you?
Something that people don't know. I'll say that. That's a good question. Maybe let me name a couple.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know that I am pro-black. Also, a lot of people don't know. A lot of people didn't know that I rapped.
Really? What did
A lot of people where I'm from. I'm known for sports.
Okay.
Where I'm from.
Okay.
So, as all of this energy is building, and I'm on television, and things about me being shared back where I'm from, a lot of people were like, "Yo, I didn't even know you was doing music. I didn't even know you was from Lake Charles. I'm seeing you on the screen."
Right.
And people are like, "No, he's from where we from." So, that's another thing I'm finding out more and more every day. I'm getting opening messages every day. I didn't even know you're from here.
And I will say this. When I first heard you rap and stuff like that, I did not know you came from the good old state of Louisiana.
Yes, I hear that a lot.
But that is not to throw shade. But it's just you have your own style. Now, you said you're known back home for playing sports. What sports did you play?
Football. I did play basketball,
Okay.
but I'm very, very known, was very known for football.
Okay.
I attended Northwestern State University to try to pursue the NFL thing in 2008 to like 2009, 2010. That didn't work out. Bounced around college to college, trying to find myself, switching majors like it's nobody's business, and raked up a lot of debt, and eventually I found myself here in pursuing music. Well, I found a love for music. I always had a love for music,
Right.
but when I kind of started doing it, and a couple people was like, man, I think you might be able to do
You
this.
tight, like.
It kind of put the battery in my back a little bit. So I literally went into a dungeon for years of learning and comparing myself with the greats, scratching this, I'm not ready.
Right.
Writing, and that's kind of how I'm here today.
You were your best critic.
Yes.
And so which position did you play?
Wide receiver and cornerback.
So you fast.
Was fast.
I'm sure you still got it. Now, that's cool. And it's funny because sometimes when you're back home, people know you for one thing and then you leave and it's like, oh my gosh, he had a whole nother thing he was doing. Right. Now, your rap name is Jaylon Musa.
Yes.
Very similar to Mansa Musa.
Yes, indeed.
So why did you decide to use that as your rap name?
For people that don't know who Mansa Musa is, he was an emperor from Africa. The richest man to ever walk Earth. I think today, I think they did the math. I think he would be worth $1 trillion.
Close to
$1 trillion. And I like the way it sounded. And I wanted to bring an ancestor to the front. That's kind of what I say.
Okay.
When I mentioned, I'm like, I wanted to bring one of the ancestors from way back and bring him to today. I want to attach him to my name so people can ask me this question that you asking me, and they can use Google and go see who this person is. We need these kids asking questions, man. So definitely look up Mansa Musa. He was an African king, emperor, who's very wealthy, and do your research on it.
Yeah, it's a real. He was a real emperor, very huge, Mali Empire, just powerful. But it's good that you say that you wanted to bring something so iconic to the forefront, especially in African American culture and African culture. Yes. Now, did you always have a love for African culture,
Nope.
Africanness? No. Where did that originate from?
Definitely, it came. I'm trying to think. Maybe when I around the back end of college, when I started when the internet got bigger,
Yeah.
and I was running into different people, and when the police killings kept happening, and that's when it, like when the Trayvon stuff that started happening, that's when it kind of started spiraling. As for not in a bad way, but and then I started looking up heroes, reading on them. I'm a very much of a Malcolm X fan.
Okay.
That was the book. That book kind of just put me on the other side of it, and it was no looking back at that book. When the autobiography of Malcolm X definitely put me on a whole nother level.
I hear that's
especially
a very
his value,
a transformative piece
to the black, just to black people, and just reading up. But yeah, Malcolm X definitely did it for me.
And that's cool because I feel like now we are kind of getting distant from that. I feel like it was big in the 70s to be very pro-black and get into our African roots, and I believe we're in need of a resurgence of that. Now, you're from good old Lake Charles, Louisiana.
Yes, I am. Lake Charles, stand up.
Now,
for people that don't know where it's at, it's by Houston on the corner of the boot. Lake Charles, 2 hours from Houston.
Oh my gosh. And it is a whole entire city separate from New Orleans, because I feel like
3 hours west of New Orleans. Everybody thinks we're from New Orleans.
Yeah, everyone thinks it's like right.
Everybody thinks we're from New Orleans. We're not. We're from Lake Charles, and our food is better. You can at me at Jaylon Musa if you don't believe so.
He got something to prove, y'all. But I mean, for a lot of us, we just think because if you're from California, there's a lot of cities that are next to each other that are their own city, but it's like right next door. Right. You guys are your own separate pieces.
Yes, we are.
Now, what was life for you like in Lake Charles?
Coming up, actually, the first 15 years of my life, I'm actually from Cameron, Louisiana.
Okay.
But to find that on the map would be like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's probably about 20 miles outside of Lake Charles, so it's pretty much like you're from LA, but you like stay like right here.
Yeah.
But you're from LA,
right?
So the beginning of my life, I was raised in Cameron for the first 15 years. Where I lived was hit by a hurricane, Hurricane Rita, and after that, I permanently moved to Lake Charles. Now, all of my family, probably 80 to 90%, even before the storm, lived in Lake Charles. We went there every other day, every weekend. I stayed there. Or went somewhere there or whatever. So pretty much from like 15, and then I went away to college, and then when I came back to Lake Charles to go to another college, I just been living in Lake Charles ever since the hurricane when I was 15 years old.
And again, I always say, like, my heart goes out to people who were victims of the hurricane, because that has to be difficult.
Yeah, it was definitely difficult, sleeping in churches, and we slept in like school gyms and stuff like that. It was quite interesting. It was quite humbling, because I used to like to evacuate. Yeah. It's like, yes, we're out of school. And then when it actually hit, and I was like, where are we going to go? And then when we went home to see it, literally all of the land was like, there was no home. There was no nothing. It was like flat like this. Like every telephone pole was like slanting the same way from the winds and all of that. Dead animals everywhere, and it's like, okay, what do we do? So we just was scrambling, everybody trying to stick together and just trying to survive. And I think the state did a great job in surrounding each other as far as like the people. Like, it was a lot of cookouts, people just cooking for each other. Like, we went back to school and we didn't learn nothing. That was like my 10th grade year. We went to school. Teachers wasn't teaching. They were trying to figure out where we was going to live. So my whole 10th grade year, I ain't learned nothing. You know?
I mean, that seems like that's a very traumatic experience. Do you still have remnants of that?
The only thing I don't like and that I always speak about to people is I can't remember as much when I go down. Okay. I lost a lot of pictures as well. A lot of things I cannot remember. So I might see something one day that'll spark a memory, and I'm like, oh man, I forgot about all this, because I can't put a picture to some of the things, because it's fading away from me. So even when I go home, you still can tell that something hit there, or whatever. So a lot of my memories I can't really remember.
I mean, I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. I feel like it kind of is a good thing because it means you're able to move on, but I feel like that's still unfortunate.
Right, you want to remember like what that was, that building that's not there, or what was right here, or whatever. So I can't like in my music, sometimes I search for that, and I can't find it. To an extent.
And it's a blessing that you were able to still make it okay. Right. So how did Lake Charles shape you as a person growing up? Like, how did that shape your character?
I would say it's interesting because I have a lot of different shapings that come from my younger self. Growing up Christian definitely played a part. Definitely, I always was a humble person. I feel at least. And as I maneuvered, got older, went through high school, you get different friends and you see how they live, and you see the older I got, I'll say this, like meeting different type of black people was a great experience for me. Like meeting, kind of meeting black people from the hood, meeting black people from here, meeting black people from there, and I took on a lot of that and implemented it into who I am. I think unconsciously, like it just happened or whatever. So I think Lake Charles definitely shaped who I am to an extent, but a lot of places are continuing to do that. So
you learn from your environment.
Definitely learn from my environment. I learned a lot from Lake Charles. I probably, if it wasn't for Lake Charles, I probably wouldn't even be an artist today because of how kind of slow the city is on the slick. If I didn't have that space that's kind of like you don't have a lot to do space, I wouldn't have sat down and really like honed my craft.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have got on it if I wasn't probably in Louisiana. I probably would have been something else.
Yeah, probably something having to do with sports, maybe a coach or something.
Right. For real.
Now, you also sing. You were in various choirs. Now, how old were you when you joined your first choir?
Probably like 7 or 8. Probably about 8. And I definitely can't sing no more, so don't say that.
I was so
don't put me on the spot. I already know that. That's exactly why I had to curve the hell out of you. And I don't. Well, I'll say this.
Can you hold a tune though?
Yeah, I probably can. Yeah, go check out "Remember
harmonize?
Me." If they go check out the second song on my EP, I'm kind of like.
That's not light work. I'm talking about like.
I can't like Aretha Franklin you down, but I can like hold. I could do a little.
Can
something.
you do a serenade? Can you if you had to serenade your girl, could you do it?
Probably, but I would bust out laughing 3 seconds in because I feel like I'm gonna be looking corny as hell. Like soon as
hey, don't let girls fool you. We like corny from the right people.
Yeah, but it's like I'm always thinking like it's like me, and I always think of the me looking at me on the side, and the me looking at me is like, yo, son, this dude here is wilding right now. So.
Now, how did you get into choirs? Was it just to get out your mama's hair? Yeah.
No, my mom
okay.
pushed me into the choir.
Okay.
Well, I wouldn't say push, but I had to go to church. Like where we from, you going to church.
Yeah.
Every Wednesday, Sunday, and then you got all the other type of things that you have to go through with church. Like you just going. So you either get ready, and when I was in the choir, at first I was just singing, and then eventually it grabbed a hold of me, and I started actually lead singing.
Okay.
And that was a great time in my life. I actually think that's why a lot of my stage fright don't exist, because I was in a choir, singing in front of people and doing things or whatever, and that took a toll. And a lot of what that did to me is why I feel like I'm pretty creative and I'm pretty rhythmic in the music when it comes to hip hop. So
you was a good old Southern choir boy,
Definitely singing soprano at like 10 years old.
That'll get you right.
Right.
Now, when did you stop singing? Like, when did that just stop?
Singing the more I got in high school, the older I got, and I started playing more sports. So a lot of things that I was doing in sports was I was going to do that instead of like, they might have like some type of an event for church, and I had all-stars in baseball, or all-stars doing something with football. And I started, as you get older, that stuff become lame to you in your head sometimes. Like, to me, I was like, I'm trying to play football, da-da-da-da-da. I was still doing it, and I enjoyed it. But I think the older I got, it just like I may have lost interest. And then when I got to college, I was still going to church and stuff like that. But the interest of singing, I wanted to do sports.
It's always the people who sing who lose interest.
Yeah, I didn't. But this is the thing. Some people like, my family, but like, he really could sing. To me, I was like, like them Southern churches, everybody just sings.
Yeah.
Like, you can have a voice that sounds like a lawnmower, and it's like, you did a great job singing. And it's like, nah, you did good, and I'm pretty sure the Lord is happy that you done that. But your vocals is kind of average.
Well, it's good you were honest with yourself because some people just keep pushing anyway. Now, how did being in a choir introduce you to music as a whole?
Now that definitely was that was great. I feel like understanding the instrumentation part, because it's more like it's live, especially and it's a thing like in the South, the choir will play. Sometimes we'll play for hours straight. Play for a little longer or whatever, or I might have to play 3 times out of the day. You know what I'm saying? Depending on how many church services they might have or something like that. So I think that is probably the reason why hip hop, the way I can maneuver through the beats or whatever, because a lot of my music is sampled from stuff like that or whatever. So I think just like understanding music, and I wasn't even trying to study it then. I think it just creeped into my subconscious of just knowing how things work to an extent. And then from a rhythmic level, I was like, I can hear it and say, this is probably the tone I should use, or this is the flow I should use. I think that church definitely had an impact on me in that way.
And I do enjoy, that's what I enjoyed about your EP, was that gospel influence, because I haven't heard a lot of people.
So you can hear it?
Yeah, sample gospel records.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's new. Yeah. Now, for you, how did gospel and growing up in the church kind of shape how your music pursuits, if you will?
Pursuits. Like you mean like the way that is gonna go from here?
The way, like, why you even decided to pursue music, did that stem from you being in the choir, for you feeling like I can do this?
I think just now I always loved hip hop.
Okay.
But it was Southern hip hop. The younger you are, you just like hanging out with people that's listening to music. So like I would listen to like Tupac outside of like Louisiana, outside of the South period, and but for the most part I'm listening to like Southern artists. Lil Wayne, people that was hot, Ludacris, Yin Yang Twins, Boosie, anybody or whatever. And the older I got, it's funny because like we was like playing around with the music, and you start thinking you can do it.
And you do it.
Probably everywhere in America, there's like that neighborhood where people like, yo, we going to the studio, and they ain't going nowhere but to the closet.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
And playing around with it is what sparked the interest, because somebody told me like, yo, I feel like you had a pretty good verse. I feel like you might be able to do this. And that's when I started picking up a lot of books too. I started like kind of like feeling like I need to be more knowledgeable. So it's like they kind of go hand in hand. It's like the more I was reading, I was finding myself being able to formulate sentences just in conversation.
Yeah.
And that kind of like went to music. So it was like I was doing the book thing, reading a lot and playing with rap a lot, but not just playing with rap. People was actually like saying like, yo, I feel like you kind of nice at this. So telling me anything like that, I'm like, all right, let me see if I can see what, see how to do this or whatever. And then I started studying hip hop from a writer standpoint and studying some of the greats and seeing what made them great.
And I feel like some of the best rappers of all time either are ones who study a lot and read a lot, or ones who've been through a lot and are able to articulate that into their music. Right. And if you come from both, then you're just Hopefully you're unstoppable.
Winning. Right. We unstoppable, baby.
Right. So I feel like that's very dope. Like you said, you learning to form your words and just reading improved your writing.
Right. It does. It really does.
So you started performing in your 20s.
Yes.
How long were you rapping before then? Or was it just one of those things that you picked up right on?
Man, a lot of people think I'm lying, but because a lot of people are like, man, I've been rapping since I was like under 1 year old. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nah, I started rapping at like 22. 21.
Okay. And how old are you now, by the
28.
way? You look young.
Thank you. Everybody tells me that.
You got a baby face, bro.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
So you're 22, honestly speaking, 22.
Yes.
So you just start rapping on a dime.
Yep. Started rapping when somebody told me I could rap a little bit. I started messing with rap. And what's funny is, though, I have one project. So I rapped to myself and like around a selective few people for all of those years before I jumped out. So I told myself, get cold as hell, get very nice at this before you step out. So I like went into the dungeon for like years and years and years and years and years. And I've made this project, and now we here, and the reception has been like phenomenal.
And do you think that, because you're one of the lucky ones, because it's like anything, they tell people who are any form of entertainment, you got to 25. Lucky for you, you look young so you can shave,
right.
Shave back
that's the greatest thing. People really think like
you look young, so you
21, you got
years.
some time, and I'm like, all right, I'm running with that.
Right. But like normally people have it until a certain before they peak a certain age.
Right.
So for you, do you wish that maybe you could have, because if the reception is crazy now, do you wish you would have started earlier?
I do wish I would have started earlier, but I feel like the music probably would have been a little more immature if I'd have started earlier, because I wasn't where I was musically, even listening to music. The younger I was, my music would have probably been a little more like a little different, not as sophisticated, but cool.
Yeah.
So I feel like me being the older artist, I kind of like jumped that stage because I started late.
Right.
But if I wasn't the studier I wouldn't be here as well. So it's like I jumped the immature stage of music, because if I would have started rapping at like 15, I don't think I would make the same type of
You probably
music.
making crank dances.
Yeah, I'd probably be like having like a tall tee on with like some colorful pants or something. I don't know. I wouldn't go that far, but
right.
Yeah, I don't know if I would make the same music if I started super early as far as hip hop.
And that's good. I mean, it's nothing wrong with rapping within your age category, but since you matured, it's even better because now you're approaching it from a different perspective. Right. Now, when did you decide I want to have this career? Did you ever start off rapping and think I'm going to do this as an actual career?
I think I remember like around the time, maybe like 6 months to a year in, I would like go to like ciphers, and in my mind I would be like, I would see people that's kind of respected where I'm from. Yeah. And I would I can do this or whatever, like or whatever. Like I would kind of start, my confidence would go up because of the people that are being respected, and I'm like going home and evaluating it compared to what I'm doing, and I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm growing then kind of quickly. Yeah. In my mind, because I feel like what you just did is not that hard to attain as far as skill or whatever. So the skill kind of like spiraling quickly because of how much time I was putting in. It's like I started taking myself very serious, and like there was a time where it was like, all right, let's get this stuff a crack. Let's see what we can do. And then I had a couple guys that I grew up with that was like putting the energy on me, like, no, you ready? Do this. Like I had my guys or whatever, a couple of my dudes that was like, nah, we can do it. We can do it. So I think that helped too, just having a team, having my girl and all of that, people that support me or whatever, that was kind of like being impressed or whatever, and people that tell you like, yo, this don't sound dope. It's trash right here. So
you need people who are gonna be honest with you and also encourage you for sure. Right. Now you do freestyling, and you do very conscious rap, as I like to call it. It's very lyrical. You have a strong lyricist thing going on. So did you start off writing lyrics or freestyling first? Which one came first?
Freestyling, playing around, like in the car or something like that, and then eventually sitting down in friends' house, childhood friends' house, and they might put on a beat. You might freestyle, but it was like one of them might have had one of them had the computer with the mic, and it's like, all right, now you got to write or whatever. So I would just start writing, like, I guess this sounds good, this sounds dope, and we started doing that, and that's when I picked up the writing thing or whatever. Okay.
Is it harder to freestyle? Some people say it's harder to actually write lyrics than freestyle. Some people say it's vice versa. So for you, which one is harder?
Probably. Well, the thing, it's easy to freestyle, but it's hard to be good at it. Okay. Because you're thinking of it while you're whatever, like you just start rap. That can be difficult. Everybody's not good at that if you don't practice, which I don't practice a lot of that. But I'm more of a writer. Okay. I like to sit down. I might sit around for like an hour, drink some water, eat, and like listen to the beat. What does this say? Or whatever. I might drive to the beat, might listen to the beat, doing something weird or whatever, and then I might pick it up out of nowhere, like, all right, go, and just start writing. Like, this is what this says to me. Write this, put this down. All right, how do you formulate it? Because you can write it, but if you're not good at like placing the words to where it's flowy, to where people kind of like vibing with you, that's kind of one thing that I pride myself on. Not just rapping it. Like, does it flow? Like, does it does it stand out? How is it dancing kind of between the instruments and stuff like that?
And that's what I always say. People are missing flow. Like, you can write your lyrics and you can ride the beat, but like, does it flow? Right. And I feel like that's the struggle nowadays. People are just focused on the lyrics. They're not having no flow, and 100%. It's not really. It don't always move you like it should. Right. Now, it seems like you have like a lot of natural ability, which is very good, and it's always good if you're more able to do something easier than someone else. Right. But Do you feel like that your style differs from most of the rappers that come out of Louisiana?
100%.
Yeah.
I actually, and I'm being serious, I don't know anybody that style is probably like mine. I will say the closest style to mine would be in the range of maybe some older Lil Wayne, kind of when he was probably like that 06 to '08 Lil Wayne. And people don't know Jay Electronica that signed to Rock Nation. He's from New Orleans.
Yeah.
Conscious or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He's similar to me, but he's like OD conscious to me sometimes. Like I love him as a lyricist or whatever. But as far as like I think like I'm like the mixture of them to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
Not as far as like sound or whatever, but their flow is a little like sometimes East Coasty.
Yeah.
And that's why I was influenced by the East Coast or whatever. So as far as Louisiana, like yeah, that's probably the only ones that I can think of off the top of my head.
And that's dope you said that, because I know a lot of influences like DMX, Jay-Z,
Yeah.
and things like that. And I feel that your style, when I first heard you, I thought you were from the East Coast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You
I hear that.
know,
I hear that a lot.
Because we're only exposed, a lot of the main rappers that come out of Louisiana come from New Orleans. You know,
Right.
Master P, Boosie,
Right.
Lil Wayne.
Boosie from Baton Rouge.
Boosie, Baton Rouge, excuse
Baton
me.
Rouge.
So, but a lot of them come from New Orleans.
Right.
So when I was listening to you, I was like, okay, Lake Charles, it vibes a lot with East Coast. And I was like, is this the new sound of Lake Charles? You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Definitely not the new. I think a lot of the talent, they have a lot of talent in Lake Charles. It's still southern sounding, but it is a little more lyrical. I think that it's been in the past. There's a lot of talent there. I haven't heard nobody from Lake Charles that kind of is even close to the style that I have.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that I'm better or nothing like that. But as far as the style, even from what I've heard from people from Lake Charles has been reaching out, like, yeah we never heard
Right.
nobody from Lake Charles that sounds like this at all.
Now, why do you resonate more with East Coast rap? Because Southern people are very prideful, just like people from the East Coast and West Coast. Like, they're very into their sound. And their sound is dope. I
Right.
love it. But for you, why did you feel like I want to change it up and do something more in the realms of East Coast conscious rap?
I think the style of the people that I liked, like the Nas or the Jay-Z's, I liked how cool the East Coast was.
Okay.
Like, I'm not like a over-the-top guy. Like, I'm very reserved. And to me, East Coast cats kind of like,
They're cool.
they just cool. Like, yo, you know what I'm saying, doing whatever. So
Yeah.
that's what made me gravitate to, like, how cool they were and how talented their words, playing with words was.
Yeah.
Like, it would just blow my mind just seeing East Coast people rap. And it's like the Southern stuff, I'm like, I can do that.
Yeah.
But man, when you would hear some of these East Coast cats rhyme, I'm like, whoa, like the flow and just the charisma, you know, would come with that, the way they dress and all of that. It's just always been like the cool kids. And
you
I
want to
like
be
that.
a part of the cool
Right, I
crowd.
want to be cool, you know.
And that's good you say that, because a lot of people, I feel like, they gravitate towards certain coasts because we're on the main stage.
Right.
So either people want to be more like East Coast or more like West Coast.
Right.
Or they want to be straight up Southern.
Right.
You know?
Which is big right now.
Right. They want to be
Right.
straight up Atlanta,
Right,
Louisiana, all that.
Right.
So to come out of like the heart of Southern rap, Louisiana, and want to do something on the East Coast side, it's really interesting to hear, and kind of it's cute in a way, because like they
Right.
just dope to me.
Yeah, it was always dope.
You know.
Always dope.
Now, do you feel like being from Lake Charles gives you a different dimension as a rapper compared to people who are from other parts of Louisiana doing it?
Like, what you mean?
Like, do you feel like you're providing a different perspective? Because I feel like cities have when you're in the same state, you experience things the same, but each city does it a little different.
Right.
So
I definitely think like being from Lake Charles, the most important thing I think to me, and let me know if I'm not answering this question correctly, but it shows that like that there are different, like, diversity there, like, to the other cities. Like, now I feel like people that kind of view Lake Charles, and now I'm kind of on the scene, it's like, oh, okay, they're kind of diverse as a city or whatever. So, okay, you know, I can go to this person when I want to hear this kind of style, and I can go here when I want to hear that. So I do think that I'm opening like a different side of Lake Charles, 100%.
And that's good because, like you said, there's a whole bunch of cities that people are doing stuff, and you only focus on New Orleans because that's where the bulk of the artists come out of.
Tell them we here now. We
good.
Ain't going nowhere. Lake Charles. And I love New Orleans, but yeah.
Right.
We coming.
So you would definitely put it on for the city. Now, since you are a freestyle champion, I'm going to have you freestyle right now. And I'm going to let you pick the beat.
All right. Throw on that Drake Duppy freestyle beat.
Oh, my gosh. Drake.
It's something random.
Okay. I'm surprised. A lot of people pick an old school beat.
I remember that beat being kind of nice, though.
I'm in shock.
Yeah. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
It's kind of messed up.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff that you grab on YouTube can be staticky too.
Yeah, I want to give you a clear beat.
Okay. It's clear.
Yeah.
Hopefully it isn't one of those ones that just break.
I hope not. I think it's good.
Yeah. Lake Charles, Louisiana, Jaylon Musa, look, chat. I'm Lake Charles made, off of the dome, just know how we do it, chat, look. I'm Lake Charles made, off of the dome, you know how we do it, look. Immaculate conception. You niggas looking for God, I'm here, don't tell me I'm not as clear. People wanting smoke, well let's get it cracking. It's 3 years in the making, boys, I'm back in action. Westbrook of these rappers, I'm here to pat the stats in. I'm Barry Hatches, these niggas is talking greasy to bleed me. You can't see me, believe me, I'm out your reach, B. I'm the only one, you see, I'm Lake Charles made, My flow tighter than your ghostwriter. I'm the only Osiris in this whole cipher. Welcome to Doomsday. My tool spray and make you bake like souffle. You out here thinking you Luke Cage, see that boy good. Me falling off, you wish that boy could. We on the show radio station, you see that boy hot. Got my flow back, feeling like the rap Bojack. I can do this from California to Louisiana. With them young boys, they sit inside them campers with them hammers. They knock you off, it's nothing. You know we never struggling. The East Coast, know I come with that thing like the heat toast. Off of the dome, you know I run up in your home, not with the chrome. I give you a book until you learn something, little nigga. Cause they out here wanna kill you, and we ain't for that. The police brutality, they tryna put us down. Them boys clowns, we ain't coming, we supporting Kaepernick. You know I got that fist up. Nigga, no, we ain't tryna be in that fist cuff. We just tryna get our shit up. We tryna get that bread. We tryna build a generation. But these motherfuckers steady hating. You know I keep going. You know how we do it. You know I gotta keep that knowledge going. I'm falling off, but let me catch the flow back. Feeling like I'm on top of the game. I'm feeling I'm in my prime. These lames, they steady talking down on my name. They must don't know I carry caskets with me, and I'll put you in one. You know I be the young son, the son of the sun, the melanated cracking. You know what's happening, we never stopping. You get your ass slapped up, nigga. You know I got them goons with me. I got my city with me. Just know they riding with me. You know I run the city. Little something. Yeah. I had to mix some of the music, some of the EP in there, just so they go check that out. And then I had to, do a little something off the dome, man.
Light work, that was dope. I'm always intrigued when people do freestyles, because that stuff is hard.
Not the easiest. But, do a little something.
But that was dope, and you wrote the beat nice.
Appreciate
I was like, all right.
Appreciate
got
it.
I heard a little Jay-Z influence in there.
Yeah, a little something. Little Jay-Z, little Nas. I grew up on these guys.
Right. He said, I know the crumb. I hand you a book. I was like,
Yeah, a little something.
Okay, so let's get into that EP since you just gave the intro for it. The Birth EP.
Yes.
You talk a lot about in the 7 songs. 7, right?
Yeah, 7.
7 strong songs about being black in America, family life, enlightenment, spreading knowledge. And before I curtail into the question 7, was that done on purpose?
At first it was 8, and it worked its way to 7.
Okay.
So I'll say kind of divine, because it is a number of completion and it's the number of the gods.
That's what I was trying to ask.
So at first it didn't start that way, but like a month or 2 before, it kind of it went to 7.
Yeah. Now, you talked a lot about different things, and it took you on a journey, which was the point of the EP. Now, what inspired you to write that?
The EP? At first, I was going to go like OD, like, yo, let's do like 15 tracks. And,
you want a whole album?
20. And I felt the need to do something concise and like short, because it was the introduction. And I felt like even though you may be talented, it doesn't mean that people are going to get to the back of this album because they don't really know you. So I said, let's make it smaller so it can be like sample size, and then have people wanting more instead of having people like, yo, you dope. I couldn't make it to the back end though. I don't really, know you or whatever. So that's kind of what I did. I wanted to make it like short and concise and straight to the point. And at that time, that's what I had to say. So I kind of just stopped. Like that's what I had to say at that time. So, and I probably got to the birth. It was named all type of stuff, and probably a month out, I was like, I feel like a star's being born. So this is the birth. Here you go.
True.
Put out to the universe.
Yes. Just it's bursting, and you're just doing a whole bunch of stuff. But in regards to keeping it short, I feel like that's a good idea because when you have a lot to say, it can be overwhelming at first.
Right.
You got to kind of inch people into your message. Now, why did you structure the songs in a particular order? Because I feel like each song kind of segue into the next, like building of a story. So how did you decide how you were going to structure?
I think what was interesting, I kind of judged the way that the music sounded. Okay. Then I went to what was being said. I said, does this sound like that should go after that? Like, what does this speak? Because I want to let the music speak, and then, unless I'm saying something so crazy on the song, they were like, no, you can't put that after that. But I wanted the music to flow to where you could just play it, because it's quick. The songs, they kind of run through to where it's like you can get done pretty quickly with the EP. So I think at first I listened to the music, the beats by themselves, and then the content kind of played a part.
Right. And
then that's how everything made its way. Like I knew when I heard the first track, which is called Immaculate Conception, I said, this is the intro. And some of the other songs kind of bounced around in between that 7. And then like probably a couple weeks out, I kind of was like, all right, this is what needs to go here. This is what needs to go here. So. And
what was the main vision? Because I feel like when people write these extensive bodies of works where they're saying a lot in their songs, I feel like there's a motive of why they're doing so. So for you, what was the main vision for your EP?
I think the main vision was to showcase hip hop, being from the South, but showcase a different side of the South. Yeah. Because they do have like people that are similar to me in the South now as a whole. Yeah. But it's just like bringing my story, and I feel like a lot of people, they don't talk godly as I do. So a lot of like we was talking about before this, a lot of God references. I feel that kind of comes with my style a little bit. Yeah. Being like on my pro-black thing or whatever. So that kind of like took its toll, and just everything that I just felt at that moment. Like a lot of that music is how I felt just at that moment, adding where I was. Maybe personally, or what was going on politically. The Kaepernick stuff was kind of heavy. It was popping during that time that I wrote the music or whatever. So you hearing that, you might hear things about my grandmother and a song on my brother being incarcerated. You hear that. Yeah, it's a very intimate album. You dove into a lot of personal matters. Appreciate it. Now you talk about, I feel like you want to uplift, and that's why you do what you do, and you're into pushing the culture forward. So what does that mean to you, pushing the culture forward? Pushing the culture forward is being inclusive, like being not like a lot of people, they might do stuff for the people, but are you with the people? So even though you can't just be wilding out here and being able to be touched by everybody, I am you, and you are me. I don't want you to place me in certain areas or whatever to where you trying to like put me in a box or to where I can't touch. I don't want to be like how Michael Jackson had to just literally just like jump into an SUV, jump here and can't be touched. That I wouldn't want to be like that. I'm more of a hands-on, talk to people, inspire people. I just want people to be the best them they could be. So I want people to kind of live through me. If they're not encouraged, or if they, if they're down, because I get down. Yeah. I get stressed. I have the same problems as anybody else. So I just try to put that in the music while the beat's kind of being nice. So it's like putting the candy in the medicine. Yeah.
That's true. It's like very conversational. I feel like the way you rap, it's like if you're having that conversation with that one person who's just about, uplifting people and having everybody do what they need to do to get out of their situation. Right. But do you feel that in hip hop in general, that's a necessity, that it's a responsibility for hip hop artists to do so?
Definitely a necessity. And I feel like a lot of artists, people don't owe you anything, but it's like when you got a grand amount of people that's watching you, I feel like you have to be careful with what you do.
Okay.
Especially in hip hop. Hip hop runs the world, by the way. Like everything that you see as far as like style, all of this, is like hip hop influences it. So I know me personally, I definitely watch what I say to an extent, and I watch, what I do. Just not even on a hip hop level, just as a person or whatever. I know I got people looking up to me. I got little brothers, nieces, nephews, little cousins, and people that look up to me. And I do feel like hip hop, it has to carry itself like that, because if not, you can lose a hold of the culture to where you're just accepting anything that goes in the culture. Like some of this stuff out here be looking a little wild, like the way they be representing hip hop, or just like disrespecting certain pioneers in hip hop. Like, there's certain people that you just can't be saying that about. There should be repercussions for some of that stuff. I
think because that goes to your knowledge. I feel like the reason it does occur is because some people don't know where they came from in the origins.
Right.
I feel like when these people paved the way so you can do what you do, and whatever way you do it, then you have a lot more respect. Right. But do you feel like hip hop also has a necessity to the community to progress that?
Man, that's what it was like in the beginning. It was like a community thing. Like we all going to the park, gonna jump on the mic, gonna have food, out here, herb or whatever. So I feel like hip hop definitely should serve the community. If you out here doing hip hop and you're benefiting from it and you're not giving back, you're looking a little crazy out here. Yeah.
I will say that I feel like everyone, once they reach a certain level, they need to give back.
Right. You got
in some capacity.
Most definitely.
But I want to get into it because we did have a very interesting discussion before this kicked off, the show started, and it was in regards to religion and different ideologies. And I know in your songs Immaculate Conception and Devil in Details, you delve into more of your belief system. So what are your favorite philosophies that you like to incorporate in your music?
Definitely from Africa. African spirituality is my spiritual choice. Even though all spiritualities come from Africa, but definitely grew up Christian, obviously, and not a non-believer of Christianity or nothing like that. I just found my way or whatever, and I think religion, just being black, spirituality is kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So even if you have no religion, like black people naturally kind of already are like spiritual or whatever. Like, I don't know how often y'all go to the South, but like black people are like extremely like religious and stuff like that. So I think that just like meeting so many people, going down so many lanes, or just just talking and communicating with different people, you find yourself just like, oh, I like that, I never heard that before. And it's kind of how I got on my African spirituality thing, and just doing research and stuff like that. You just find yourself, it's like it takes care of itself, because think about it, what I thought about as I got older and more mature is I didn't want to be something because I was raised in it. Like just because Joe Blow, or I was taught this, I'm just going to be it. Like, for example, like if all of my family was raised Muslim, I would be Muslim. If all of my family was Hindu, I would be Hindu. And if all of my family was whatever, that's what I would be. So that's kind of how it kind of grew legs for me. Like, what am I, though? Because these people, even though my mother gave birth to me, I come alone, I die alone. So what is for me? Yeah. So I kind of was on that pursuit of finding like what was for me or whatever. And but I learned from all of it though.
Yeah.
So just because I do this, that doesn't mean, like, some people, they might be something and they don't think they can learn. Like, no, I don't want to hear that. Nope. If it ain't this, it's the devil. Or if it's this, it ain't. Nope. That ain't how I rock. Like, I can come sit down with you in church, we can go here, go there, and I will learn things from every place that we go to. You know,
and that, I guess, is a testament of adaptability and also learning from your environment. And I feel like at the end of the day, when you just study it from more of an educational standpoint, it's a lot of similarities amongst all the religions.
Right.
You know, but like you said, you have to figure out what works for you. Right. Now, how has religion, even though you say you're not religious, how has just the idea of religion influenced your music? And what insight do you want people to gain from your music?
I think religion definitely has an influence on my music, especially like the beat choices and stuff like that. Yeah. A lot of it sounds religious. Well, like from where I come from, like from the church background. I think in a good way, religion has like impacted me as a person, but there's also certain things that I don't like that religion also has done, like as far as like the biases or certain things, or like certain, like as I was younger, I would have certain fears and stuff like that. I didn't like living out of fear and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that it's just like anything. There's a good, like kind of like a yin and a yang with it. Like it definitely has its pros for how it influenced me, but it definitely has its cons that you just like. It's like trying to unlearn something that you've been doing for 20 years. You still got like tendencies and stuff like that. So that's kind of what it is, but it's okay. I mean, you know.
I mean, it's good that you're open in terms of learning. I feel like that's the biggest key.
Right.
Because you should never stop learning regardless.
Right.
You know, as long as no one is coming at you in your face with it negatively.
Right.
You know. But do you also feel like that in hip hop, that alongside of providing messages, we should also be focusing on social issues and dealing with those?
Definitely in hip hop. That was what hip hop like was. Like everywhere, everybody like to NWA to like, you know what I'm saying, Public Enemy and all of that. So it's like but what's crazy is like you have the masses, the medias that they want to keep that down, because that was the scariest times for them with us. Yeah. When we're uniting and we on some fight the power, read a book is gangster, and we ain't doing all of that, and we on some militant stuff. A lot of us was back then was dressed like Panthers and stuff like that. That ain't good for the media. They don't want that not to an extent. They don't want that. So I feel like now what they do is they push to the forefront, the stuff that's kind of like it's not really meat and potatoes. It can't stick to you. They push out all of the dance tracks. Yeah. Everything's a party now. It's like there's no music for like when you're driving home and you know you got rent due. They don't want to push that, or you're just having a hard time, or you've been racially profiled today or something like that, or a cop slammed you on top of the car today a little heavy, and you know. Yeah. And I feel like that's not like you got the J. Cole's and the Kendricks and a couple of other people, but there's not enough. Back then, that was like the lead thing. Conscious. Yeah. What can you talk, like what can I learn from it today that kind of like
So you were saying we're definitely in a deficit of conscious rappers, and that needs to increase.
Right. Well, the eyes on it need to increase. Okay. We're here. Right. It's not being promoted as heavily, I feel. As it was back in the day.
And how do you get around that? Because now, like you said, hip hop is global. It's a money maker.
Right.
So it has way more of a machine that's behind it than it did 20, 25, even 15 years ago.
Right.
So how do you feel like there's a way to get out there and get those eyes? Because like you said, there is a want for it. Right. It's not being brought a lot of attention.
Hopefully it's interesting, man. I think like a lot of these like I perform at like underground spots that are like these social events or whatever. I feel like a lot of them do well with like bringing people together, because they might have food out there, so they'll get you there. Yeah. You just need to like promote. People have to promote, and I think the internet too will like, it's kind of cutting them out a little bit. Even though they're studying the internet, seeing what people like, and they're signing them and pushing them on TV. Yeah. I think the internet is going to be the reason that it's going to come back, because a lot of people are hot on the internet. They don't need a deal.
Yeah. That's true.
They don't need a deal at all. You know, they got their merch table. They got everything that come with that. So they're good, you know. So I think it's just the more and more that we do it, and I think that we just, you know, have our presence on the internet, I think it'll spread out more.
And I think that's the best thing about the internet for artists now. It's kind of a catch-22 because it can either crush an artist or it can build an artist without that third party.
Right,
you know
right,
what I'm
right.
saying? So this question is probably the most important question I have asked you yet.
Got you. Let's do it.
Do you plan to keep your music free?
Um,
Because I was
that's a great question,
surprised.
actually.
I was surprised to go on your website and see. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to pay at least $5.99. I was like, all right, I was ready. I was like, oh my gosh, it's for free.
What's interesting is actually on the site. If you look though under
Yeah,
it, you
it
can
said
purchase.
donate.
Yeah, I wanted to do that because nobody owes you anything, and that was
Yeah.
my first project. I was like, yo, like, and I appreciate the people who bought it because we definitely had people that like, no, I'm donating.
Yes.
Whatever, I want to pay for this.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted it to be like an experience, not attached to money like that. I wanted you to like, this is hello, how are you? You know, I wanted to introduce myself, so I felt like I wanted to do that like in a free world, you know,
Yeah.
and it'll probably eventually it'll get put up on like all of the the streaming services or whatever. But I wanted it to go straight to the source of my site.
Yes.
And so they can experience it and just download it off of there, and you put it into your phone. But probably maybe the next one or the next one eventually, I'll definitely probably charge for the music, but it'll still be on free platforms.
I mean, it's dope. I'm willing to buy it. I buy quality, so
Appreciate it.
It's good. It's all
Appreciate
right
it.
with me. So, since you are the freestyle, I'm going to give you another task, and this is called the 5 Fingers of Truth. I'm sure you're familiar with the 5 Fingers of Death. So, they're going to increase in intensity as we go, but they're pretty fun, at least to me. So, first off, BET or MTV?
BET.
I like how you had to think about that for a second.
Let me think. What is this a catch? All right, we good.
No. So now I know you performed in Dallas, Houston, and New Orleans.
Yes.
I don't even know why I said it like that, but
People do that often.
yeah.
New Orleans.
Yeah. Which city has the most hype crowds?
I will say out of the LA crowd is pretty good, but probably where I performed and the crowd was the craziest probably was Dallas, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, they was, and I wasn't even known like that. They was feeling me.
Ha!
I was like rocking out, and they was
Right.
like moving. I was like, all right. But LA now that I'm known, like I'm kind of a little more known out here, they've been vibing with me. Like I've been getting
Yeah.
calls and people, yo, come rock, can you come through over here? So I feel like LA is slowly like, cause I'm not from here,
And that's
but I've
cool
been here.
because we are very like
Yeah.
we don't really
LA like yeah.
we don't really mesh with outside people unless
Right.
they just fire.
Right.
But all right, who won in the Nas Jay-Z beef?
Jay-Z clearly.
Oh, we gotta talk.
So wait, Nas. They say Nas won the war, but no way Nas won the battle, but no way he won the war. There's no way. And I think Ether was a little overrated. I'm gonna tell you why. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
Now this one we got to stop on.
Explain this.
You gonna bring up Nas and Jay? Yeah, we got to hold up a little bit. The thing about it, like the person, like if you get into an argument, the one that just goes like too hard, like you ugly, your mama this, you this and that, you look at your face, you got and say like crazy stuff, like you got sucking lips.
Yeah.
It's like that guy, like for like soon as it said, it's like, oh my goodness, and then it's like you're doing too much. So okay, so look, and I love Nas, by the way.
Right.
So
there's no bias here.
Yeah,
we love both. But
and when you listen to Takeover, because that's what I'm comparing, the Ether and Takeover,
mm-hmm.
Jay was more relaxed, didn't seem overly emotional.
Okay.
Just kind of like, yo, you're not on my level. Actually, we sampled your voice, didn't even pay you for it.
Okay.
We paid somebody else for it. Your career at this time now. Your
Mm-hmm.
career, what has it been here at this moment or whatever? Now, whether I agree about it, I don't think Nas was that hot back then.
Right.
I just think that Jay-Z's disses had like actual factual stuff. Now, that kind of to me played like a part. Like, what are you saying is true? And like Jay-Z had stuff that was like true, and they're like, oh, this is actually reality. This real.
Right.
This is real stuff. Mm-hmm. All of this other stuff is like cracking jokes. Like you ugly and you all of this. So
okay, well,
that's kind of how I look at it.
Okay, from that perspective, I will say that in that perspective, from just facts, then yeah. I feel
right, because when you want
Jay-Z,
things like if somebody say something to you and you like start breaking down the truth though, like but this is that and that's true and this is true and that's true. So you can insult me, but you're just insulting me.
Okay, well in that case, I see how that I see that rationalization there. Okay, all right, I go with that. Yeah. All right, if you could define your music in 3 words, what would it be? Just 3.
3 words.
3. 3.
Real classic music.
All right. Hey. All right. That was actually a phrase in and of itself. Real classic music. Yeah. All right. So the last one of the day. Musa, for those who don't know, means emperor in Mandinkan, aka Mandingo. Don't ask why we call it Mandingo instead of Mandinkan. So if you let me start with this. Now, Mansa, the word Mansa means like savior in Arabic, and Musa means emperor. So if you had to choose, would you want to be a savior or emperor? Savior. Okay. So let's say you were a African savior. What would be the first thing you would do?
In this time, in this day and age, if I was an African savior, the first thing I would do, I would think of a way to uplift us economically, spiritually, if that's possible.
Yeah.
Financially, and from an educational standpoint.
I vote Jaylon Musa for president now.
Yes.
But that's good. I feel like it's a start with just your intent. So that's all I have for 5 Fingers of Truth. Thank you so much, Jaylon, for coming.
Yes.
It was so fun. The time has just flown.
Yes.
So how can people find you?
They could find me on any social media platform. Jaylon Musa, Jaylon Musa, and the website is Jaylon, Jaylon Musa, Musa.com. I appreciate all of my fans, my supporters. Thank you guys for having me.
Yes, you're welcome back anytime.
Yes, thank you.
And as always, you can find me on Instagram at simply the Chocolate Diva, or on Twitter at Angelica CC Diva. Capitalize that A and those double C's. And for the Flashback Friday song of the day, I'm gonna let you do the honors there.
Flashback song. Flashback song. Let's play. I want to play a joint from mine.
Okay.
I want to play a joint from mine.
Which one?
I want to play Forget About You.
Okay.
Cause that's a flashback. I'm in the past.
Okay.
I released that last year. I'm playing, but yeah.
I mean, it's cool. I feel like you gotta hype up yourself.
A little bit.
You know, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
So, this would be. There we go.
I love the feeling in here. It feels good vibes in here. I'm enjoying this. For real.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, it's very cozy in here, I will say.
Yeah, it ain't too cold. A lot of these places be cold. Yeah.
No, we chill. So I'm going to take us out of here with Jaylon Musa's Forget About You.
You best not miss.
My brother incarcerated again. Put his chips in the streets, but he didn't win. Face of time. I can only imagine your state of mind. How many times you gonna be in the wrong place and time? You know I'm here for you, nigga. Not try and judge you. Selfishly relating my feelings because I love you. And though we got 2 different mothers, I never cared. This here is real, ain't no half brothers over here. You grew up without our dad, which made it hard to maintain.